Welcome back to this week's episode of The Kitchen. We're excited you are here. Thank you so much for listening. You guys, we are back with another Written by You series. We read a wide variety of topics. And I think the title of this episode is going to be Speedos, Roosters, and Bad Second Shooters. we truly do cover a wide range of topics here. So you guys make sure you like, subscribe, give us some love, and without further ado, let's cook.
Living in a daydream, ooh, such a sweet thing. Life on the big screen, it's such a beautiful scene, yeah.
Nathan, that's a nice apron.
Jacob, thank you. I appreciate it. Any
Cooking
comment I ever
something?
get. Actually, yeah, I've been on a huge baguette kick lately, and just toss some in. So
Nice.
well, I didn't toss them in. They're rising, but yeah, it says every pizza is a personal pizza if you believe in yourself, and that's a
Beautiful. Wow. It's
beautiful term.
Let's get that embroidered onto your apron.
Nah, dude, I want an apron that just says "Runaway Boys." Huh? You like that?
Let's do it. Yeah, sure. Why not? Speaking of cooking, we're going to cook up some great tea for you all today with this episode.
Nice. That was a good transition. You've been thinking about that one.
We're going to be your personal chefs as we dish up some of the wildest dishes in this kitchen, talking about some crazy stories, all written by you, all prepared by you. You supplied the ingredients. We turn these into spicy dishes.
Man, you're on a freaking roll.
I'm on fire this morning.
You're on fire.
You guys, before we dive into this podcast, I do want to say something we're proud about. We want to let you know we are finally finished with our online free training. It's a 45-minute free training about everything every beginner needs to know in their year one of business. So if you're interested, we'll have that linked below. Nathan and I put a lot of work into it. We wanted to provide a free resource for those of you who just want the 10 things we wish we knew in our year one. We want to just have those out in the world for you to watch and learn from, and we hope you find it valuable. So we'll link that below. But without further ado, let's dive into some spicy dishes. And again, also link below. If you want to submit these stories, link below.
What are we reading today,
series.
Jacob?
I categorized the alphabetically. I'm starting with this bridal party horror story.
Okay.
Starting off with a bridal party horror story.
Love it.
This is from a videographer. I was filming a wedding where the couple had expressed and told me that their bridal party was rowdy. Classic story.
Love it.
But they didn't mention that they would keep pressuring the couple to take shots. Ceremony time comes around, and the groom is so drunk he was struggling to walk down the aisle. Quite an interesting day for me.
Oh man,
like a zombie coming down the aisle. Man, yes, I do.
we don't drink, Jacob, and I'll never understand alcohol. It's just adult peer pressure.
Yeah,
I said it.
I mean,
it doesn't make sense to me.
It ruined the ceremony, right?
It ruined the wedding. Yeah, it ruined that
Again,
part.
Nathan, what do you lose from waiting until after the ceremony to drink?
I don't know, and that's why I have such a hard time when we show up and they're already just slamming down stuff for the ceremony. Like, you should want to remember
what kind
that.
of raging alcoholics are drinking at 10 in the morning?
Well, it sounds like their bridal party was the true alcoholics, and then they pressured them to take it. But why did they? Come on, groom.
Just say no.
Just say no.
We're adults.
Yeah, well, I'll destroy my liver in a couple
What
hours
if you
after the ceremony.
mess up your vows, or what if you say something you should? Wild stuff.
Now that's crazy. I would love to hear a story submitted that said like he got
Someone's so drunk they confess something just wild.
started talking about like their ex or something.
That'd
Wild.
be crazy. I just think like it's only happening once. You can drink anytime you want, and maybe drinking is like an amplifier for you. Just wait for like the big event to be over, just so that's done. You want to remember things.
Yeah.
I also, because I don't drink, I only picture drinking as like blackout drunk, which I know is very rare. But that's the only like.
It's the only image you have in your head.
Middle ground. It's like 0 to blackout.
Yeah, it's kind of how I am too.
Yeah.
But yeah, people hold their liquor differently. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a good look, especially since that's such a pivotal moment for any wedding film as well.
Don't you like pee on yourself if you're super drunk?
I'm sure that's some people's response. I
'Cause
don't
I've
think
met
that is
people,
a
in
normal
Philly
response.
Who like were peeing on themselves as I was talking to them because they were so drunk. What
See,
if he
that's
did that during
crazy.
the ceremony?
And he's wearing a gray suit.
Wild. What if
Hope he's wearing
the
black, my boy.
bride from last week with the poopy dress, the groom had a PE pants?
Poopy
What a
dress
combo.
and pee-pee suit.
PE suit and poopy dress. Or children.
Man. Oh,
That's a
gosh.
funny one.
That is a good one.
If you're a bridal party, just wait until after the ceremony. It's not.
Yeah, get new friends. I guess it's kind of too late for that if they're already in your bridal party.
Nathan, can I also just say, as a friend,
What?
how excited I am that you're reading this next one.
Is it, which, it's really short, is it not?
That's the one. Go ahead.
The one-liner?
That's it.
You're going to have to explain this one to me because at first glance, I'm not... Maybe I'm missing something here. Okay. Photographer, bridal party horror story. The maid of honor said in her speech, "Remember, she's an oven, not a microwave."
I'll be honest, I don't know what that means,
I don't either.
but I think it's a sexual innuendo.
I think it's got to be some sexual innuendo. But I was hoping you'd enlighten me because it sounded like you knew something I didn't. She's an oven, not a microwave. Are you Googling it? I'm hearing the clacks of the keyboard. What does that mean? She's an oven.
I don't know. Google wasn't helpful. Don't Google it.
I'm gonna put it through AI. Hold up. You talk here for a sec.
Yeah. Remember, she's an oven. Are we just stupid? Are we missing like obvious innuendo? I'm trying to think. What's the difference between ovens and microwaves? Ovens are slow cookers. Microwaves.
Slow cookers. Microwaves are quick. Is this like some sort of like sexual thing? Like she needs
I mean, I prefer
time?
oven
Is
food
this-
over microwaved food. Maybe it's like
Keep in mind, as Jacob said that, we don't know what this is an analogy for. He's strictly talking about oven food.
food. That's all. I don't know.
All
what
right,
this
hang
means.
on. Let me type this
Someone
out.
enlighten us in the comments, please.
If someone says she's an oven, not a microwave, what does this mean? All right, let's see what this says.
Oh gosh.
Someone enlighten us because I'm not quite sure. But if it's a bridal party horror story, it's got to be pretty bad.
Right?
All right, let's see. The results are back. Hang on.
I feel like it must have been like a story that this was the punchline, and I think we're missing the story. Or
Yeah,
it's an
AI
obvious
is not
innuendo
helpful.
I've never heard before in my life. It's okay. We'll
Yeah,
move on.
Not helpful
If this
at
is your
all.
story,
Yeah.
comment below and let us know what the heck this means.
Maybe we just, what if we just read like one of the most horrific
Vile.
things we've ever read and we didn't even realize it?
Like, oh, interesting. Yeah, microwave
Dude.
oven. Yeah.
Man, my screen right now, I'm just looking at it and it says, yes, there's some medical uses for cocaine. And then the next screen is, well, if they say she's an oven, not a microwave. Interesting.
Your search tree is wild.
Gonna
You
have to
yours under control.
really. Okay, you take off with this next one, the breaking your gear. Long one.
Okay, breaking your gear. This is a story from a videographer about breaking your gear. When we first were starting out, we were out with the bride and groom doing a sunset portrait in a field somewhere in the middle of nowhere, Kansas. Now, this is interesting because it narrows who the story could be submitted by if they're from Kansas.
We could track him down.
My first thought is it might be John Bunn. Isn't he from Kansas?
Yeah, I think he would know better than me.
This was a super low budget country wedding, but we were out trying to build our portfolio by doing drone shots of the bride and the groom walking in a field at golden hour. Beautiful shot. We are a husband and a wife duo. Wow, this is really narrowing out who this could be.
Wow.
And my husband was flying the drone while I was on my gimbal. Right as we were finishing with the couple, I heard my husband go, "Babe, we're going to get sued." Only for me to look over at that moment and see our drone falling out of the sky and onto a $50,000 truck in the parking lot of the venue. By far, The truck cost significantly more than the entire budget of this wedding. In front of the photographers, the couple, us, and the bride's uncle, who was out smoking a cigarette by this truck. Both my husband and I ran over to check out the truck. Of course, leaving the bride and groom in the field with no explanation. See ya.
See you later.
Takes two people to analyze a truck.
Yeah, no.
And the bride's uncle is still just chilling, smoking a cigarette by this truck, having the best time because apparently the truck belonged to his son-in-law. And he thought it was hilarious. And he said he wouldn't tell his son-in-law that this all happened. I still don't know if the owner ever found out, but wow.
Yeah. That's crazy.
But the uncle had no clue how close he himself was to getting hit. He was also slightly buzzed. Long story short, by some miracle, our drone, the truck, and the uncle somehow got it by without a scrape. And the bride and the groom loved the drone shots in the film. It turned out okay by a miracle, but we got better insurance after this happened. So the truck, it must have not been horrible damage then.
Yeah, I think, this might be a case of exaggeration. I have a question.
I think it's more about like they thought it was going to be a really bad crash because they saw it land on a truck.
Right.
But
how does the drone...
It wasn't as bad.
How does the drone just fall out of the sky with
Maybe
enough time?
FPV stuff. We should ask Landon. It apparently can just happen in a quick switch.
Maybe. But it sounds like there was enough time for the husband to be flying, see the drone start coming out of the sky, him say something to his wife, she processes it, turns around, finds it in the air, still seeing it falling. That's high in the air if that's the case. Yeah, and if it is FPV, why are they up that high?
Have you seen those videos of that guys whose drone like drops into the lake and he has to run to the lake to catch it? Maybe since this wasn't their first one, it was just like the battery had died and they didn't return to home quick enough, and so it was just coming down quickly. And they were so far away, there was no way of getting to it first.
Yeah, a couple discrepancies.
But
here.
even then, wouldn't it land softly?
Right. Well, no, that's the thing. Like, if it truly was that high, that all of that was able to happen, and the husband was able to say that, talk, say something, find it in the air, see it, it must have been pretty high. And even if it is that high in the air, it's going to leave at least a scratch. So something's not adding up here. It was one of those
different drones that literally just like the connection dropped and it fell.
From like 10 feet up.
Maybe, or higher. Who knows?
I don't know.
Maybe he saw I was losing control. Crazy.
The craziest part of this story for me was that the owner never found out. I'm glad they ended with it. There was no scrape or scratch, because my first thought was, you didn't tell the owner that you just dropped a drone from
Would you if it wasn't that
up?
Big of a scratch?
I think if there is any visible scratch, you have to tell them. My conscience, I would be like, yeah, absolutely, I need to tell them. I think even if there's nothing, like if it was that traumatic, I would still try to find the owner and say, hey, listen, this happened. We looked everywhere. We didn't see a scratch, but like, just want to let you know. This sounds like a pretty big deal. Like, it was pretty crazy. Enough for them to leave the bride and groom with no context in the field.
Yeah.
That's an event.
To each their own. I don't know if I would have said anything.
But yeah.
I think I would have been like, no harm, no foul.
Yeah. Also, don't leave the bride and groom in the field. Just have the husband go check out and keep filming them.
Yeah, it's so important when you're a professional too to like if something like that happens, you got to act very professional and like controlled.
Yeah.
Like you said, the couple, I'm gonna go check on it, handle it.
Yeah,
no big deal.
Yeah, you don't leave them in the field on their big day, just like, hey, what's going on? You don't want to make a scene, and that's what it sounded like.
No.
All right, this next story is from a videographer. It's dropping the ball. This one says, it was my second wedding. I was doing it for some friends of my grandparents. Okay, how old are they? How old's this couple?
Wait a second.
Okay, hang on. It was my second wedding. I was doing it for some friends of my grandparents. The whole day was great until the reception, where the worst possible thing happened. If it's worse than the poopy dress, I'll be shocked.
Walker's broke.
Yeah. All right. Okay, where the worst possible thing happened. I went into my camera settings to check how much space was left on my SD card. Caps lock. Big mistake. Without even thinking, ooh, I accidentally formatted the SD card. I stood there shocked. I had just deleted half the ceremony and the reception up to that point. As soon as I got home, I spent $100 on a recovery software that didn't work. Ugh. Luckily, the video turned out okay, and the couple didn't even notice. Thankfully, I did it for free. They didn't notice their ceremony was missing.
$100.
Yeah, you lost money.
Cameras going. Oh my gosh.
This couple didn't notice their ceremony was missing, Jacob.
What camera did I used to do that on too? The 1DX, is it when you had to go into the format option to see how much space you had left? Because it wouldn't tell you how much recording time you had?
That was the Mark IV and the 1DX, if I remember correct.
Like you had to, even like it would say like how much you could record, but it wouldn't say how much longer you had or something.
Right. Yeah.
All cameras now, they say like you have this much time left.
Yeah.
That's actually wild. I would feel like a pit in my stomach.
When we did shoot with the 1DX too, it was scary because it's muscle memory, you know, when you click in, it's almost just like muscle memory just to swipe the little wheel and
there's no like double confirmation page. It's just like format. Yes. Formatting.
Yep. I'm also connecting the dots here, Jacob. Tell me if this is a reasonable deduction. They're filming this wedding for the grandparents' friends. Okay. No inclusion of the age. And they missed the ceremony. The ceremony wasn't even in the edit and the couple didn't notice. I have a feeling this couple is very old, and they may or may not.
They did say they deleted
have some sort of
ceremony.
I guess that's true. It could have been just one cam. Yeah, I was about to say they've got.
Which begs the question: how much of a day does the couple actually not care about?
Yeah. Maybe they just had one cam.
When we made the dropping the ball category, I assume most of the stories would be like this, like where you formatted footage, honestly, or just didn't record something. Oh, it's so painful. I would have a pit in my stomach the rest of the day.
Yeah. Have you ever done that? Have you ever formatted in the middle of the day on accident?
No.
I don't think I have either.
But they didn't mean to. They just...
Yeah, that one's tough. Man. Not worse than the poopy dress, though.
No, last week's was wild. All right, this is from a photographer. This is a wedding ick that this photographer has. This story is from Europe. Oh,
nice. Oui, oui. Bonjour.
Grazie. El conto, per favore.
El conto, per favore.
That means the check, please.
Hopefully there's no different pronunciation guide. And you didn't just say something extremely vile.
God, I hope so. We were asked to capture a wedding in a rural town. At dinner time, the first meal was about to be served. Sure enough, the catering service was bringing out the soup, but the bride and the groom received a special side dish for it, which was a whole roasted rooster on a fancy plate. I almost just said something. The planner thought it was a good idea to put a lit smoking cigarette into the mouth of the dead rooster. They used the word foul. The bride and groom loved it, posed with it, and asked for pictures. I never felt so grossed out in all my life. But here comes the fun part. They ended up choosing a photo for their wedding album with the rooster. So I literally had to curate and include it in their photo book. This awfully gross joke still haunts me as a wedding photographer. I think this photographer is part of the PETA organization, and I see why this could be kind of offensive.
We appreciate you, photographer.
Mocking the corpse of a dead rooster. How dare they? Roosters don't smoke. They shouldn't be smoking.
Yeah.
I get it.
I think
a head of a rooster
tasteless.
Is gross in general.
Yeah, it is a little tasteless of a joke.
We cut off the neck of a rooster or a chicken when we buy whole roasted chickens. Man. It's just unappetizing.
The guts of this planner just unannouncedly showing up and putting a cigarette in the mouth. Just nobody asked for it.
Yeah. Oh, they're gonna love this.
Hey, this is gonna be great. This is good stuff. Yeah.
This is rich. They ended up choosing that photo for their wedding album. That's actually crazy.
Yeah, this category was wedding icks, so icks are subjective.
You have the right to that ick. I think it's a valid ick. I think that's a valid ick. Story. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Must be a European thing, right? All of our Europeans, no.
Yeah, Europeans are wild, man.
That's weird.
Okay, let's go on to vendor nightmares.
I love these.
Videographer. Okay, this one is also a bit of a doozy. Strap in. Years ago, my husband and I double booked a weekend. We decided we would split up and each hire second shooters. Both weddings were huge for our business, and we couldn't just pass either one. My strength is more in the editing room, so I knew I needed a very strong second shooter. We researched a ton, and what? You're already laughing.
We hired Jake Weisler Films, and it was the worst.
And it turned out terrible, and our business is now under. We researched a ton and found someone we thought was a great fit. His work was great. All right, it's leading all up to you, Jacob. His work was great. He was 6'1", 210 pounds, Lehigh, Utah. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, his work was great. He had a very put together appearance on his Facebook profile pic, dressed in a nice black suit.
Wait, you didn't go with like a friend referral, like someone who like can vouch for somebody? You went with like an online presence?
I guess so. His work was great, mistake. Though. His work was great from what they saw.
It doesn't matter. It's not about the work. It's about the person, right?
Facebook profile pic. What did you just say?
Back me up on that.
What did you just say? I tuned out to that.
Is it worth? Anyone can shoot with a camera. It's about how you present yourself. It's how you are as a person. You need someone to vouch for you.
Yeah, I agree. Anyway. I'll back you up on that one. Okay.
Onward.
But he had a very nice profile pic. He was dressed in a nice black suit.
That makes up for a lot.
And was very assuring on our phone interview. All right, well they did due diligence here. Okay. We talked about the event. Man, I'm just waiting for cocaine to come into this story. He's going to do cocaine.
He showed up with a white mustache.
We talked about the event and asked that he dress nice as it was a black tie wedding. He agreed, and we were good to go. Fast forward to the wedding day, and I'm walking over to meet him at the venue. You guys, I have never been so taken aback in my entire life. The person I was walking towards looked nothing like his picture and was nowhere near black tie attire. The guy standing in front of me was dressed in dark green cargo pants, tennis shoes, and a black untucked button-up. I swear this was not the same person I spoke to. I was mortified. This was our first time working with a certain planner and photographer that are in the very high end market of the industry. On top of not looking the part, I had to babysit him all day long. Every time I would ask him to do something, he acted, put out, dragging his feet, and making excuses as to why he didn't feel like it was that important. Ooh. By the end of the day, he told me that I made him feel like he didn't know what he was doing and that he wanted to quit videography because of me. I truly felt catfished by this entire experience. As you should. Wow.
He made it to the end of the day. Wild.
That is a catfish story if I've ever heard one.
Wait, so is it... Is it the same guy in the Facebook photo? Like, is it that guy?
I'm assuming, yeah. Like they were just trying to paint the picture that it did seem like the same guy.
Catfished. Oh my god.
He just showed up in green cargo pants, untucked shirt. Wow.
What do you do?
That's I don't know. I think at that point, like, even if we always work with people we know, right? Second shooters, people we trust.
Reason.
Yeah, but I think and lesson learned here, if you ever do hire someone that you don't know, you probably would be better off not only checking their work, but maybe like verifying with other people who have worked with them to see what they're like on set on the actual wedding day. Because that's a nightmare.
Especially for a high-end wedding with like a planner you're trying to impress. I wouldn't take any risks.
I'd be fuming if we split up, you guys, and that happened to one of us.
Yeah, you guys, I think I've told the story before, but I have excused only once. If he listens to this podcast, I'm sorry. I've excused a second shooter from a wedding before because of how much they were embarrassing me.
It's your brand. Yeah, it's your brand.
I couldn't handle it anymore. Like it was like the couple's noticing, the photographer's annoyed, and it's my brand. And like at the end of the day, like he's gonna go home and be fine, and I'm gonna take the hit for this. I can't take the hit for this. I have to excuse him, so I just told him to leave.
Yeah. Man.
Tell him to leave.
I feel bad.
And you have to suck it up and shoot the whole wedding alone. Sorry. That's the price you have to pay for bringing something like that.
I almost feel bad for when we ask people to submit vendor nightmare stories because most of the time, I'd say 80% of the time, we flip on the actual videographer or photographer saying like, no, it's your fault.
Yeah, nice try.
This one was definitely merited. This is I feel bad. I feel for that videographer.
Textbook nightmare.
And I don't know if you're.
I want to know the repercussions. I want to know what
I
happened.
was about to say. No, yeah, I was about to say, Jake, I don't know if you're just rubbing off on me here, but I really want to know what happened and who this second shooter was. I want to know.
Name the name.
Drop the name.
The name.
Yeah. Oof, that
Don't
was
just
a
DM it
tough
to
one.
us. Comment the name in the comment section on this YouTube video
Please do. Let's start a thread.
for the world. Let's find this guy.
That one hurt, man. That one
That's
hurt.
sad.
Dang, I hope it turned out okay that the planner understood.
Yeah,
I don't know.
maybe it was just my early experience with that one kid, but like I learned pretty early on that you could shoot really well. That's like half the battle. You have to be able to represent the brand well and be professional and be a pleasure. Above all, be a pleasure to work with.
Dang.
Because any kid can hold a camera and hit record,
How do you?
and then you can make it look good in the edit. It's not about that.
Let's assume this happened to us, Jake. So we've had this situation, right? We've double, triple, even quadruple booked on weddings before. What if we had 2 weddings on the same exact date, both for luxury high-end clients? You and I would definitely take those, and we would probably split up. That's how we would handle it. Let's say in this case, you get a bad second videographer. This is happening to you. You're working with a planner you've never worked with before. Do you attempt to reach out to the planner and say, hey, like, I'm incredibly embarrassed. This is what happened to me. And do you try to be transparent, or do you just not say anything and try to, knock their socks off with deliverables anyway? Like, do you feel the need to reach out and say, hey, planner, like,
No,
I didn't
don't.
know.
Unless they did something that directly impacted the planner.
Mm-hmm.
I would, the 2 options, I would give them the drone and say, I never want to see you the rest of the night. Just get drone footage
Get drone
all
shots.
day, and take your camera out there, get some time lapses. That's all you're doing today. I don't want to see you anywhere near my couple. Or 2, excuse them and just bite the bullet and say, that was my call. I made a bad call on a second shooter. I'm shooting this wedding alone, which I can do.
Yeah, it's very important that everyone knows how to solo shoot. I think for something like this, if it happens.
And the argument might be like, oh, but the client paid for 2 shooters. And it's like, well, I'll overwork and I'll give them an extra edit or something. I'm not.
Right.
It's just not worth it. But that one experience I had to go up to the photographers after, and apologize.
Dang.
Yeah,
you gotta over deliver. Like this, it's not gonna change the workflow much in terms of our post production workflow. If anything, you're gonna make more reels that are overnight that they wake up to and see some beautiful details and things like that. But man, that's tough. That's tough.
Interesting. Very interesting. Wow, that's a wild story.
Okay, who's
we always book friends or people we know
yeah
who can be vouched for from other people. That one day we had 4 weddings. We sent Muka because we trust
does
Muka.
great work. Yeah,
We trust him. We sent Dallin and Sam because we work with Dallin and Sam. We know Dallin and Sam. We know how they work. Trust them.
Yep.
And we asked Joel because we knew Joel was amazing. We had, John vouched for him and his work spoke for itself. And we had a call with him where we kind of got to understand his character and trusted him. And he killed it. And our couple loved him. So
yeah,
always need to trust.
yeah.
That's crazy.
Dang.
All right, moving on. Gruesome guests from a videographer. This is about guests at a wedding. Usually these end with kids. We'll see. I'm a videographer, but this was a wedding on the beach in Cancun where I was a groomsman. I love this. This is a
amazing.
guest story.
This is great.
Is he the gruesome guest? During the short ceremony, bystanders, you know what? Let's just, before I read further, beach weddings.
Yeah. Ooh. I hate most of them.
Rough.
Yeah. Yep. Unless
Rough,
they're
because-
stupid rich and it's a private beach.
Right. But the public beaches, those are hard. More times than not, bystanders. And let's think about the few we just recently had. We had Cancun. That was that was in the middle of a pool at a resort, which it looked gorgeous. We had to work around, but if we showed some of our angles, just a bunch of just these beached whales in the pool,
Dude, and
watching the ceremony happen,
and like pink bikinis in the background, and they just don't care about getting out of the way.
Yep, and then
It's
at
hard.
Kendall and Corey's,
The
great
Florida.
wedding, and that was definitely more of like a quiet beach, I'd say.
Yeah.
But
I would say
still,
that
just
too.
bystanders, excuse me. Anyway, beach weddings are tough. So, bystanders would walk by behind the ceremony space since it was on the beach, which is totally understandable. Most would walk by quickly to not be intrusive. But towards the end, when the ring exchange was starting, a man in a Speedo and his wife started watching the ceremony right behind the bride and groom. After 15 seconds of staring them down, which is how long it takes for the rings to be exchanged, with a look that implied, "Get the F out of here," only the wife started to move. As the officiant was about to tell the bride and groom to kiss, I had to signal to this dude with long, sweeping hand motions to move because he's in the photos. After 15 seconds of staring at me, he got the hint. What an idiot. Then he walked to the edge of the ceremony space and took some video of the ceremony.
So
Have
he
you
can
never
send
seen
it
a
to his
wedding
family.
before? And
I
if you
don't
haven't, do you
understand
think
that.
now's the time while you're just butt naked to like stand there and stare
Dude,
with your
he's
banana
just-
hammock out?
The banana hammock, baby. I've never understood, maybe you can help me understand. I've never understood a complete stranger filming another person's wedding. Who are they sending that to?
Don't know.
Right?
Don't know.
It happens.
It's
Old people
like
just
filming
walk
the
up and they're like,
fireworks on the 4th of July. No one ever
or a
will want to see that.
full
ever.
concert. Yeah.
Yeah, no one ever will. You'll never watch that again. Weird. Also, I love that this guest, this was a videographer who was a groomsman, so he understood the assignment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He saved.
Yeah.
He tried to save the moment. Oh, it sucks.
Good for that guy. Good for that guy.
Yes,
Man.
people are so oblivious. People have these blinders on in life, and they're so in their lane. It's just Captain New Planets who just think that like the world revolves around them, and they lack full social awareness. And if there's one thing that I think is such an attractive quality in a human being is social awareness.
Yeah, it definitely
Being-
is.
Just being aware of people around you and being mindful of it. Oh,
I will say that beach bystanders are by far the worst bystanders because
The
I would
worst
say
people.
I would say even this for the weddings that we have filmed with the beach bystanders, most of our experience is they just don't care. They know they're in the frame and they just keep walking.
Yeah.
And we have had people stop, but they just don't care because they're on the beach, they have their day off, whatever.
And
they
at those
just
beaches,
could care less.
like there's a ceremony happening every half an hour, so it's not like
right.
they're just so used
Right.
to it. It's like anything at a beach. It's just like, oh, there's a wedding, you know?
Right. So, yeah. If you're a person who has ever taken a video of a third party that you don't know, tell me who you sent it to.
Yeah.
Please help me. Unless it was like, oh, I loved this girl's dress. Like, I want something like that. But full on filming it, you know?
Yeah.
9 by 16, 16 by 9. Nah.
Yeah, and
'Kay.
couples who choose to get married on the beach, it's interesting to me. Like, I think they all accept the fact that there will be people in their shots.
Do you think the venue tells them, like, we're not going to close off behind and it's actually a very foot traffic area?
Maybe, or do you think that everyone should just have the common sense to know that a beach is public?
I think people just have this idea of, I want a beach wedding. And so then when they find a place that offers a beach wedding, they just have the Pinterest board in their head and they don't think, oh, this is a public beach
You know what
that
I
they
think
won't
is
shut down.
Beautiful. Do like a somewhere else ceremony, and then do a beach reception.
Yeah. No, beach receptions are fun.
A little more
It's
chill.
just
That's
it's just
crazy.
funny. It's funny because everyone wants, if you've never shot a beach ceremony, you want one because you take it as a mark of pride, you know, destination videographer. And then you get there and you're like, oh, it's actually not that great.
Yeah, the sand reflects a white glow on my
No,
chins, and I don't want.
I was
that,
about to say the water reflection in the back, the sand, it's brutal. Okay.
squinty. Yeah.
This one
Onward.
is also gruesome guess by a videographer. Okay. And he starts out with not super gruesome, but just weird. So this is more of a weird guests category.
Okay.
We had 3 hours of open dancing to film. Phew, I feel for you.
After 10
Wow.
minutes. All right.
Jeez. All right. We're good. We'll wrap. Okay. 3 hours
big
of
gulps, huh? All right. See you later.
See you later. Yeah, okay, 3 hours of open dancing to film. So by an hour and a half in, my second shooter and I were extremely bored. Fireball by Pitbull came on, and my second shooter started dancing and
Song
rapping.
goes hard.
My second shooter started rapping and dancing. So naturally, I started recording him. Okay. Then 2 girls who were guests at the wedding ran over to be in the video and dance with him. One then quickly and forcefully hand-fed him a slice of cheese she just grabbed from the charcuterie table.
Players got to eat.
Players got to eat. How old is the second shooter?
Oh, that's the whole story.
That's the whole story. Yeah. Weird guest, not gruesome, but the guest.
Guest walked over and just shoved cheese down your throat. It's a little weird.
Well, that's, until you said that, I was thinking the gruesome guest was this guy's actually second shooter, but I guess it's the girl who put the cheese in his mouth.
Yeah, that's
she was
the
probably
guest.
drunk, right? She's probably drunk. It's an hour and a half in. So
Yeah, videographers dance during the dance party. It's fun.
yeah, but to rap, like he was the center of attention.
Oh, gotcha. I mean, we've definitely been fallen victim to women at dance parties who just think they can do whatever they want.
I thought, yeah. We've been harassed a couple times. I thought you were about to say
Yeah.
we've definitely rapped and danced, and I was about to say in what
No,
wedding?
But back in my heyday, when I was a solo shooter, I definitely, when Brightside would come on or other songs, I would.
Oh, you got
The
to jam.
photographer would always go hard.
Yeah, you gotta jam. You gotta show you're a good time. People like that. Wow,
Actually,
yeah.
anytime Brightside comes on, I think I scream as I film.
Oh yeah, dude. Brightside, best song ever.
Screw you, Sam Batten.
Screw you, Sam. Mr. Brightside, best song of all time.
Can we also just socially agree that no one wants your greasy hand cheese in their mouth?
Yeah, I'd be a little grossed out.
What if she has a disease?
I was waiting for a specific disease. I was seeing how deep you were going to take that one.
but I don't want to offend people who had that disease. That's crazy. That's weird.
yeah.
Guests are weird at weddings. I think people. Social awareness, man. Bring back social distancing.
Those were the good old days.
Those were good days. I really quite enjoyed knowing people in my bubble for a year.
Man, but just a little tangent here. I don't know why. I don't know if it's just my algorithm or something, but
You don't
I've
like
seen
Fireball? Oh.
Actually, I don't. I'm not a huge fan. The first fireball, that's a good time. But then I'm just like, yeah, I'm done with this. Mix the song,
But remember it in Cancun.
Yeah, it's also here's another take. I don't like the song "Yeah" by Usher. Lock me up, lock me up. Everyone freaks out the second, the second the song starts
Usher's
playing.
arguably best song.
Everybody, dude, yeah, his only song that I know. The second that song comes on, everyone loses their minds. Like they're about to do the coolest dance, like they're about to rap all the words, like it's just the biggest song of all time. After the first, nobody does anything. They just sit there like seals. I don't like that song.
Who does the rapping part in the middle?
Is it not Ludacris? I think it's Ludacris, is it not?
Yeah, I think everyone just wants to flex.
The
they
lady
know
in the
those
sheets,
lyrics.
or a woman in the streets, but a freak in the bed. That's all they want. Yeah.
I think we
Side
all
note,
wanna
I love
scream
that song.
part, and then no one knows the rest of the song.
Yeah,
We all
that's
scream it, and
the
then we all
only.
just twiddle our thumbs after, well, all right, that's
All right, great. How do you even dance to this song? But anyway,
Wow.
Where I was going with this was
Please.
I'm seeing a lot of things on social media and I completely agree. It says that during the pandemic, that actually gave people a lot of chance to actually go outside and see the world. And I don't know about you, but I feel like I actually got outside more during the pandemic, which is weird because they told us to stay inside. But do you remember that feeling of when it first shut down and it felt like those first 3 nights, the world just kind of had a collective deep breath? And here in the Salt Lake Valley, the air fog, the smog
never
went
forget
away
that, dude. I'll never
and it was
forget that one
crystal
morning.
clear.
Yeah, the valley was clear, and I-15 was empty for the first time in ever.
But yeah, and it was kind of I remember driving home and it was beautiful. I'm like, man,
Yeah, golf picked up, biking picked up.
there's some
year for
redeeming
outdoor
qualities. There's some redeeming qualities, regardless of how you see the lockdowns and all that. But there were some redeeming qualities of just kind of taking a step back. Everyone
Divided our country like no other.
divided our country, absolutely. But if everyone just got off social media,
Right.
there was some time to appreciate nature, and I actually
Dylan.
really liked that.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nathan, that was beautiful.
Yeah, no, I tried to bring
excerpt.
some good stuff. Thank you. Amen. We'll see you in the next episode.
All right. We have one more story. Last story.
Yeah. No, it's just
This is a Bridezilla story to end us off, ladies and gentlemen. From a videographer. I had this amazing couple. We had multiple meetings to get together to get to know each other, and so I could get to know what they wanted in their video. Among the usual requests, the bride said to me, "No flashes in my wedding video."
Oh gosh.
Time to educate this bride. I said I can attempt to make it work, and I'll discuss with the photographer to see if that's something we can arrange. The day of the wedding, the photographer uses flashes, and at that point, it's too late to turn back. I notified the bride the day after, and she said I was at fault for not cutting the flashes out of the video. However, the photographer used flashes like a strobe light, so cutting the flashes out would mean key moments wouldn't be usable. Bummer.
Sucks.
Let this be a teaching moment.
Yep.
The fault here, I'm not blaming the videographer, but the fault here was the communications prior to the wedding.
Right.
When you were trying to be a yes person and say, I can make that work, you can't make that work. You are not responsible for what other vendors have to do their jobs. Your job is to capture a video, to document a live event. You can't wear the hat of controlling how other photographers or the DJ uses lasers. You can't control that.
That's not you.
You can ask and suggest, but what I would have said, well, if the photographer is using a flash, it will be in the video no matter what. And if I cut out each frame of the flash, your video will look choppy. So I would recommend talking to the photographer about that. That's between the bride and the photographer, not you, even though it affects your video. So that's where the comm should have started.
Nail on the head. I don't know how much more I have to even add to that. It's not your job. It's not
That
your job.
sucks. The bride was definitely Zilla-ish, but mainly just uneducated.
Yeah, probably just uneducated.
Not her fault though. She just thought it was probably easy to cut out. Part of me would, like the petty part of me would have wanted to like deliver a cut speech or a cut version with it just looking choppy. I do think now, I wonder, does DaVinci have like a anti-flash feature?
I think they do, yeah. Never had to use it,
I
though.
think I saw some software will remove it, but it also depends on the light. If it was one of those lights that like shot the red grid first, then no chance.
Yeah.
But
the Predator cannon.
yeah, not your problem, and that should have been communicated at the beginning.
Hopefully the bride was cool with flash in her video.
One of my very first weddings ever, the dad reached out and said, why are all these like flashes in the video? And I said, oh, that's the photographer. And the dad got mad at the photographer, not at me. So
Yeah, I actually recently just shot a wedding that will be unable to cut out the flash because the photographer, they had a studio they were carrying around with them.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's going to be impossible. So
Yeah.
in that case, just again, as we have said before, document, don't produce.
Yeah.
If that is how, actually this wedding I shot was so much so that the client himself, he said, hey, I want this 10 minutes with just the videographer. So there's no flash in the video. And because he knew it. And the photographer was very much upset. They do a lot of wedding and they were good people. I got along well with them, but it was just one of those weddings where it was going to be impossible from the get-go.
Right.
Just to say, hey, like this is going to be a flash-filled video.
Because we've had photographers like come up to us and say, hey, like, I'm sorry, I have a flash. And we're like, it's whatever, do your job.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like if we have like a constant light on, like an on-camera light, or we have our lights at the reception, then the photographer's like, if you have your lights, then I won't need my flash. And so we're like, yeah, well, we can do that.
Right.
But more and more recently, we've been keeping our lights off just because we don't want to ruin the environment that the couple is trying to create. Kind of depends on the wedding, but that's kind of our take nowadays.
Yep.
It could change, as it always does.
I can't tell. I think we've just gotten more lazy. Just document it. It's like, all right, well, this is how they're seeing their wedding.
I do agree. We actually should talk about that because I do think we're using the document, don't produce
a little too much.
It was a virtue that I think is turning into a vice.
Yeah, and it can. Yeah, I'd say
you gotta find the middle ground.
Yeah, for the most part, we still are very good about trying to avoid it if possible. But if it's going to prove to be challenging, we're just like document, don't produce. So yeah, you got to be careful not to make it into a vice.
It needs to be like important moments. Like I always think about Arkansas, where we had our light on at that dinner, and it was candlelit dinner, and we were like, you know what, like it's just ruined the vibe. Let's just document it as it is, and that means a high ISO, grainy. That's what it means. But like the couple cared more about the intimacy of the moment than they did about it looking sharp and well lit. You know,
It turned out good though. It was a
really
vibe.
good.
It was really cool.
But I think where it
Candlelit.
becomes like more of like a lazy thing, like I just don't want to sip a light. Then it's like,
Yeah.
well, why not?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
So
Definitely a
interesting.
bridezilla.
That was a good episode, guys.
That was a great episode.
Link below to submit your stories, and we will read them on the podcast fully anonymously. But let's see if you can give us a wild story.
Give us a crazy
Just a
one.
nightmare of a story.
Just so much so that it leaves us speechless and there's no commentary.
Flabbergasted by how awkward it is.
We just instantly move on to the next story.
Yeah.
Please.
Well, anything? Any closing statements or questions? Or statements as questions?
No. It's a great day. Fantastic day. What time is it? It's already 2 p.m. Where'd the day go? No, in fact, I actually need to get going because my wife is on the other end of this door rage cleaning.
Okay. All right, you guys. Thank you very much for listening. Please subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next one.